What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to a brand new episode of Maximus the Fourth. What I have to present to you guys today is Pepsi Wild Cherry. Today, I'm going to be undergoing a taste test of Pepsi Wild Cherry, letting you guys know exactly what I think about it. I will most likely give you a score rating from a scale of 1 through 10, letting you guys know exactly what I think about it. But before then, I'm going to fill you guys in on some of the history of Pepsi Wild Cherry. Now, as an ordinary YouTuber as myself, not having a high fame profile advantage such as Furious Pete, the LA Beast, Badlands Chugs, and you name it, Shoe Nice, if this is indeed, if I can present it just right, I could hit that legendary 1,000 view threshold for an ordinary YouTuber like myself. So let's give this a shot and see what happens. We're going to hit this thing with everything but the kitchen sink. Here we go, baby. The story of the birth of Pepsi Wild Cherry actually dates all the way back in 1982. There was this annual fairgrounds event that took place at Knoxville, Tennessee. And PepsiCo's biggest competitor, Coca-Cola, just so happened to be there. And what they were doing is they were trying to create this taste testing campaign to come out with a brand new flavor so they could compete with Dr. Pepper. Coca-Cola came out with 4 new flavors to put on the taste testing campaign. It was Coca-Cola Lime, Coca-Cola Lemon, Cherry Coke, and Vanilla Coke. By the time this taste testing campaign of Coca-Cola's was all said and done, Cherry Coke was the undisputed winner. So this was quite a long project, and Coca-Cola did not come out with Cherry Coke just immediately. But what I can tell you is that 3 years later, PepsiCo from Ontario, Canada only at the time, had found out about this, and they were on a mission to come out with a cherry flavor of Pepsi of their own. So what they did is they formed together this elite team that went by the code name of Rambo, and after 5 short weeks of working relentlessly around the clock, they indeed came out with their own truly cherry Pepsi. The competition was neck and neck, and even though Coca-Cola's Cherry Coke was mountains and miles ahead of Pepsi's Cherry Pepsi, Pepsi still managed to release their Cherry Pepsi before Coke officially got theirs on the shelves. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is indeed an authentic can of Cherry Pepsi from Ontario, Canada. Now, up to this very point, you might have thought that the states were starting to sleep on the idea of coming out of with any sort of a cherry flavor of soda, but it wasn't true. What the states had already done is they had originally came out with a line of drinks called Slice to expand on their company in 1984. So what they did is in 1986, just 1 year after Cherry Pepsi was released in Ontario, Canada, they came out with 3 new flavors on their new line of Slice. It was mandarin orange, apple, and cherry cola slice. Now, mind you, cherry cola slice to this very day is actually one of the most valuable and highly sought after items out of the entire Pepsi collection. The reason why is because it was the very first cherry flavor of cola soda that was ever released in the States, issued by PepsiCo, and it was never ever re-released, and it was indeed discontinued just 2 years later in 1988. Now, although Cherry Cola Slice was discontinued in 1988, I can indeed prove to you that it actually didn't disappear in every single area, and it did not disappear on any specific date. And I know this because I actually bought this bottle recently of Cherry Cola Slice about I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, from a seller on eBay that actually worked for PepsiCo from 1978 to 2001, and he remembered when Cherry Cola Slice was discontinued, and he did confirm to me that this actually was and is a 1993 bottle of Cherry Cola Slice. Crazy. I had no idea about that. It's kind of like Sierra Mist to this day. PepsiCo discontinued it, but it still to this day is not discontinued in every single region of the country. So, just a little extra fun fact for you guys right there. So, it was pretty set in stone. Cherry Cola Slice was discontinued in most areas in 1988 and replaced with Wild Cherry Pepsi. And this, ladies and gentlemen, are the original regular and both diet cans of Wild Cherry Pepsi from 1988 to 1992. Now, by this point, most countries were going under the name of Wild Cherry Pepsi, except for a couple countries like Great Britain, Russia, and Germany. But here's where the story gets much more interesting. In 2005, there were speculations that um, the taste of Wild Cherry Pepsi might have been different, and that there might have been different ingredients. Well, the consumers were correct about this. So what PepsiCo did in order to back up their play is they came out with a brand new flavor of Wild Cherry Pepsi, and they actually renamed it and rebranded it into Pepsi Wild Cherry. And it had a different formula and different ingredients. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, are the authentic cans of Pepsi Wild Cherry, both regular and the diet versions. And as you can see right here, they clearly both say great new taste. Just get one more nice look at that, if you would. This is a promotional can, otherwise they would say Pepsi Wild Cherry on this side as well. But it's still the original can. It doesn't matter too much. Now, the last really fun fact about this story that I will share with you guys is that in 2014, I think for the summertime only, in 2014, PepsiCo did come out with a real sugar variant of Pepsi Wild Cherry, but this did not last very long. Get a nice look at that if you would. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is for the most part the most important parts of the complete history of the birth of Pepsi Wild Cherry. Now that I've given you guys the history in the birth, in the making of Pepsi Wild Cherry, it is now time for me to open this thing and to give you guys a taste test, letting you know exactly what I think about it. So let's do that. Oh, it just smells so good. You got Pepsi and the cherry flavor. That smell is just ever so potent. I love it. Mmm, so good. Now, if you're anything like me, some of the side products of Pepsi you might like better, which I do. I do like Pepsi Wild Cherry and both Pepsi Vanilla better than Pepsi Original. And here's why. In this case, Pepsi Wild Cherry, it just has an unbelievably, beautifully potent and wonderful flavor of added cherry. Just imagine drinking normal Pepsi, and it definitely tastes the way that it should, but the cherry flavor that they put into this thing is just completely masterful, and you just can't beat it. As you guys can clearly see, this is a little bit of an older bottle, but even though most of the fizz is gone, it doesn't matter. This is still very, very good and legit stuff. Yeah, you got that Pepsi flavor, and then the cherry is just hitting perfectly. Absolutely beautiful. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, what I rate Pepsi Wild Cherry? I don't think I would give it a perfect score of 10 out of 10, but all in all, with the way that they did put this together, for the most part, they did a very, very good job. In my overall score of Pepsi Wild Cherry, I would give it a very, very legendary and solid score of 8.5 out of 10. And just for good measures, before ending this video, let's just try this one more time. Yes. Pepsi Wild Cherry, you hit so perfectly. The only flaw of this is it is just a little bit too sweet, and the syrup that they put into this might have been just a little bit too over the top, but it's so ridiculously good that I still give it a very solid score of 8.5 out of 10. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the official review of Pepsi Wild Cherry. As always, I thank you guys for watching. I am Maximus the Fourth. I am signing out, and I will see you guys next time.